the advice show by the resident authority.
All right, all right.
I am the resident authority. What is a resident authority? It's a person like me who has a deep, rich, resonant voice. It's a person who has an air of authority. A resident authority always dresses pretty well. Hell, I'm wearing cufflinks tonight. He may be male, he may not. He's a person with authority and resonance. They say it's going to be a harsh winter this year. They say you need to rotate your tires every 50,000 miles. They say if you swim with the dolphins, you'll learn the secrets of the universe and perhaps catch a nasty rash. They say, who are they? They are the resident authority. They are we, me, the resident authority. They state something with surety and resonance and a sense of purpose. And whether or not it's correct, it has value. Today you're going to experience a little bit of what that resonance and that authority is like. And we're also going to do a little time. We're going to take some time. We're going to do a few exercises so that you too can gain some resonance and some authority in your lives today. This is an incredibly valuable evening. This could change the way you go through the world. This could change the way you look at the world. And for that, you are paying not another single dime. Okay, we're going to start off by answering questions. You see, I've given you cards to fill out. When I answer those questions, keep in mind, those are questions answered by a resident authority. What does that mean? That means the person who answers that question, the person who gives you that advice, gives advice that has rare and essential value. Ably assisted by my resident assistant. Say hello, resident assistant.
Hello, I am the resident assistant.
You'll get plenty of time to talk to the resident assistant, actually, but not right now. The residence flows this direction. Thank you. Let's start with the very first card, resident assistant. This person's name is Eric, and they have a question about philately. For those of you who may or may not know, philately is stamp collecting. What country's stamps have the tastiest adhesive? Eric, the country with a stamp with the tastiest adhesive is Jamaica. All of their adhesive is made from jerked products. Jerked goat, jerked chicken, jerked sausage, pretty much anything that can be jerked. And they turn it into an adhesive which can be applied to the back of stamps. So if you get a letter from Jamaica, make sure you carefully peel off the stamp and lick it. You do not need to reapply it at that time. Simply enjoy the rich, jerked flavor of that stamp from Jamaica. Thank you for asking that. Listen, do you have another question? Tom asks a question. He says, what's a good way to control recreations other than sending a cover letter?
Recruiter, sir.
Thank you, resident assistant. What's a good way to control recruiters other than sending a cover letter and reminder email to the, or calling them? One thing that Tom has demonstrated right now, he does not have resonance in his writing. He has a sketchy, weak, wobbly, watery kind of writing. He does not have authority. He does not have a surety and power. And therefore, he will get no further with his recruitment goal. He may not ever see that recruiter again. But the important thing for Tom to remember, and we're going to feel a little bit of a theme here, is that he needs to make sure that he establishes a sincere, strong, resonant authority with that recruiter when he meets him. That recruiter has to remember one name, the name Tom. Ideally, that recruiter will associate that particular name with him. That's an institution. Perhaps Tom could leave a photograph of some kind or take a selfie with the two of them. But there are the ways that he needs to establish his authority in a profound and deep way. That way, the recruiter will remember him. He can follow up with an email, or he can write a handwritten note. But if he writes it like that, he'll get nowhere at all. Resident Assistant, do you have another question?
I do.
Tina. Tina places her name on the card in a very large, authoritative way. The T from Tina is big and bold. T for Tina. Tina asks a question related to animals. What is the evolutionary reason for cockroaches? Why do they exist? Cockroaches are the most resonant and authoritative creatures. Cockroaches persist. Cockroaches are real. They are there. And they will never go away. If a cockroach were going in for a job interview, the cockroach would know that he'd be coming back. Oh yes. He'd be coming back again and again and again. Until he took up residence in the place of employment. And he'd stay there for the rest of his natural life, and ours too. What is the evolutionary reason for cockroaches? Cockroaches are so that we can know what persistence is. We're going to talk about persistence. We're going to talk about authority tonight. Cockroaches are a good model for persistence and authority, aren't they? They never give up. They never give up. You can spread your little white powder. You can spray your raid. You can stamp like a crazy flamenco dancer all day long. The cockroach will always win. Now it's time. We have 3 questions. It's time for what I like to call the Resident Recap. Thank you, Resident Assistant. A cockroach can be jerked like anything from Jamaica. You can jerk it this way and that way, but it will always persist. You can grind it up very, very finely and put it on the back of a stamp, and it's tasty. Make no mistake. We have a bias in the Western world against insects as protein, and that's wrong. Now, when I say that, like a lot of the things I'm going to say tonight, I say it in a firm, authoritative way, which means what? Which means that it's correct. When someone like me states something, someone well-dressed, someone wearing a checkered wristband, someone wearing cufflinks, could a person who is well-dressed and resonant, a person who is authoritative and loud enough for a room like this, could a person like that ever be wrong? The answer is, no, they could not. So, recapping, jerked cockroaches. Get used to them and enjoy them. There's a reason for cockroaches. There's a reason for putting them on the back of stamps. There's a reason why they are remembered by recruiters more than a person named Tom with a spidery hand signature. And there's a reason why Tom needs to be more like a cockroach. Tom needs to find his inner cockroach. What Tom also needs to do is be more like Tina, doesn't he? Why can't Tom be more like Tina? Tom with his tiny, spidery script. I'm not going to ask who Tom is, because I don't want to know. We don't need his example here tonight. Tina, we can admire and respect. Tom, we don't care. And that's the Resident Recap, trademark, the Resident Authority. Now, I want to make sure you know that there are techniques to being a resident authority. I'm going to give you one of those techniques right now. If you ever share this technique outside of this room, I will find you. This is very important. There's a basis. There's a technique. Resident assistant. Before I met you at an advice show 5 years ago in Milwaukee, what did you sound like?
Hello!
Now what do you sound like?
Hello.
Excellent. It's a technique. Resident assistant has found her inner resident. So there's a method, there's a technique. This is real. This is really a true technique. I actually travel around the world. I paid great sums of money to share my techniques with other people. The techniques I'm giving you for free. I want to make my mark in the world. I want to fulfill the spirit of Abbey Fest and help people move on to their world. So this is a technique. We're going to make this noise. Listen to me make it, and then you'll be making it. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. That's the noise. Did you all hear the noise?
Yeah.
Now together, make the noise along with me, and you're going to find a place in the middle of that noise that is especially pinging and resonant, that has depth and power. So, starting from the top. Who felt the ping? Did someone feel the ping? Did you feel the resonance? Did you feel the vibration in your body? If you didn't feel it, go home and feel it by yourself. I find that sometimes you need to have that quiet room, that resonant room, to feel it the most. But for those of you who felt it, raise your hands. I want you to make, those of you who felt it, find that place right now. Find it with me. Okay? All right? Now, you're going to make that sound with a ye sound. Together, 3 punches. Yay, yay, yay. All right. Yay, yay, yay. Now we're going to make that sound with an H-O sound. Ho! Together, and ho! One thing you've learned tonight is, if you ever need to hail a cab, you're standing on the street corner, the cab's going by, if you go, ho! That cabbie will turn around and screech on the brakes, and that cab will stop for you. So, 3 hoes. Ho, ho, ho! Excellent. Very resonant, very authoritative. Good job. Next question is from Eli. Eli has a question about love. At what age is it socially acceptable to compromise in choosing a life mate? To compromise. Eli. A resident authority does not compromise. A resident authority scans the available mates, walks up to them with residence and authority. I'm going to talk more about how to establish that authority in just a moment. And states firmly and strongly, you will be my mate. I would like all the men in the room to repeat that with me right now. We're going to say, you will be my mate. Together, and you will be my mate. And now all the women. I would like you to respond. I would like you to say, like hell I will. All the women together. Like hell I will. And I'm hearing that in a good, firm, resonant tone. All these women, you're using that womanly resonant place, aren't you? Excellent job. Eli, you can compromise if you like, or you can be a resident authority and take what is rightfully yours. Next question. This question is from the Bobster. The Bobster takes himself not very seriously. If I'm applying for a job, do I say, hello, I'm the resident authority, or do I say, yeah, just call up the Bobster? Yeah, I would like to be the head of your division, Bobster. Hello, my name is Bobster. Bobster is not a resident authoritative name. But Bob has a question about family issues. What do you do when your sister is trying to take the place of your mother and control your life? That's difficult, Bobster. But what I'm getting is that your sister realizes that with the name Bobster, you're not going to go very far. Your sister's not trying to take the place of your mother. She's trying to save your damn life. So, Bobster, what you need to do is look through perhaps an ordinary novel of some kind, or maybe a telephone book, and get a real damn name. Okay, Grace has a question about sex.
What?
I said Grace has a question about sex. Does my residence and authority not reach all quarters? Are there places where you're perhaps not able to hear me? Let me know. The question about sex is, how much is too much? The resident authority sees the world in different terms. They see a world that responds to their will. They see a world that responds to their desires. The resident authority always has exactly as much as they care for. Very important, and no more. A resident authority is winning the world's battles. He's climbing the corporate ladder. She's making a home for herself. She's the top barista, the CEO, the vice president, the president. He is an authoritative person. Perhaps he's even too busy for sex. I hope not. But no matter what, with the control that he has, with the residence and control he has, she can have whatever he or she wants in the quantity he or she wants. She can decide that. She can mark it down on a tablet, on a piece of paper, on a post-it note, place it somewhere, and make a decision about exactly how much is too much or too little. So the question is, how much is too much? It's exactly as much as you want. Now, it's time for trademark resident recap. How much is too much compromise when creating a life mate? Compromise is always unacceptable, so compromise of any kind is always too much. Bobster, if your sister is trying to take the place of your mother, maybe you need to compromise with your choice of names. Maybe you need to find a name that's not a compromise, not a weak, silly little name with an ER on it, but a name that has some value. A name like Tom or Tina. Bobster, perhaps you should be, from this night forward, Tina. I don't think it's asking too much, Bobster, for your sister to take the place of your mother and control your life. Perhaps you should not compromise on your life mate. You should marry your sister. That's not a compromise at all. The world's a big place with lots of room for relationships and satisfaction of all kinds. That's the resident recap, trademark, the resident authority. Now, it's important to have some authoritative postures and gestures. Perhaps you've seen me give some of these gestures tonight. Let's talk about the steeple. Let's all adopt the steeple right now. Go ahead, steeple. For those of you who only have one hand, I apologize. If you only have one hand, you can steeple with yourself. It's called the pinch. If you can't steeple, you can pinch. That's the steeple. If you're making a point repeatedly, you can use the karate chop. It's this, it's that, it's the other thing. Do it with me. It's this, it's that, it's the other thing. There's always the Bill Clinton authoritative thumb, isn't there? Yes, there is. And there's always room for good posture. I'd like someone to come up and help me demonstrate good posture right now. Ma'am, come up, please. Okay. There is a proper authoritative posture. A proper authoritative posture is feet about shoulder width apart, hands at your sides. That's it. Now, I would like you to put your hands in front of you. Say, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Weak! Weak! Whenever you have your hands attaching in any way, if you're giving a talk, your hands are attaching, they'll never unattach, will they? You'll go through the rest of your talk with your hands attached. So you want to make sure you detach, hands at the sides, and you can speak for a good long time with your hands at your sides. What do you do for a living?
I'm an art director.
Okay. Let's talk about your most recent project. What were you most recently working on?
Holiday advertising.
Holiday advertising? Okay. Now, talk about it with your hands clasped in front of you like a tiny T-Rex. Talk about holiday advertising like this.
Holiday advertising, there were so many changes and it's very discouraging and everybody's like trying to make it the best effort of it, but you're just working so hard.
But they're not listening to you. They're just not listening to you, aren't they? They don't listen to you when you sound like when you look like a weak, inefficient T-Rex. Or I make you look like a weak, inefficient T-Rex. You're a very strong and stable and successful woman, I can tell that. So that is the authoritative posture. Hands at your sides, speaking with authority, gesturing only if you feel like you need the gesture, and then returning to your seat a champion. Go ahead and sit down. We weaken ourselves if we gesture too much, don't we? We weaken ourselves, we make ourselves other than we should be. It's not good at all to be weak and unauthoritative. We need to be strong and authoritative. Stating things with sureness is important. So, let's find a good sureness phrase for right now. I'm glad I'm here. Everybody? I'm glad I'm here. Now, another aspect of sureness and authority is the use of pause. You see, we all have much more time to speak than we think we do. There's a certain kind of authority that comes from pausing. So, that phrase we just said, I'm glad I'm here. Now we're going to take a very long pause after the word glad. So just speak with me. Say, I'm glad.
I'm glad.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm just going to do the whole phrase now with a big pause. With me. I'm glad. I'm here. Yes, yes, yes. Authoritative, even the most simple, silly, random phrase can be lent authority and gravitas. It's time for our next question. Andres. Andres has a question about sex. Do you believe in heavy petting on the first date? This is easy. It's an easy answer, but it's true. When having sex with a companion animal, it's very, very important to do as heavy a petting as you care to do on the first date and every date. They like petting. They like petting a lot. The heaviest petting possible. Some of the higher life forms, if you're going to go into the mammalian world, goats, sheep, cows, bison. The petting must be very, very heavy for them to even notice you're there. Sometimes you have to just slap them right upside the head. It's not petting, but to them it is. To them it is. This person is so unauthoritative. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment here. If you have so little authority, you could not even give your name. Take a moment of silence for their lack of authority. But they did have a question. Family issues. My aunt and uncle got divorced, and it's messy. If divorce includes hatchets and knives, I'm afraid I'm never going to see him again. What do? And that's all they wrote. What do? This person is obviously so disturbed by this. They don't have a name. They can't write complete sentences. There's a lot of scribbling. They knew they had to seek out a resident authority to get them back on track. And I'm glad they're here tonight. Whoever you are, little nameless person, thank you. Thank you for coming to me in your hour of need. You want to see your uncle again. You need to go up to your aunt and be authoritative. You need to stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. You just say, Aunt blank. We don't know the aunt's name. The aunt's name is not written. They don't have names in this family. Where's the trouble stemming from? Where is their trouble? They can't give each other names. There's something. The word for that is anomi. That means without a name. The lack of names in this family has caused a deep-seated problem where nephews and nieces cannot communicate. They're not allowed to communicate with their aunts and uncles, and that's tragic. That's deeply tragic. But nameless person, for one thing, find Bobster. The two of you find a telephone book. And both of you choose a good name. You choose a name for Bobster and have him choose one for you. And then say, go up to your aunt and say, hello, Auntie. From now on, you can call me Tina. And I want to see my Uncle Randall. So you've given him a name too. So he by rights has a certain place in your family that he did not have before. And then once your uncle has a name, and you have a name, the healing can begin. David. David has a good, strong name. D-A-V-I-D, capital letters. David, David. It's a biblical name. It's a real name. It's a resident name. It's an authoritative name. And he has both religion and astronomy in check. Could God create a rock so heavy that even he could not lift it? Could God create a rock so heavy that even he could not lift it? Yes. Yes, God could. Fortunately, God also created resident authorities. People with rare power to do anything they set their minds to. As long as God finds a resident authority and says, hey, resident authority, little help? God can do anything he wants to do. Let's go for a resident recap. Could God create a rock so heavy that my uncle could not lift it? Yes, yes, God could. But you're going to give your uncle a name. You're going to call your uncle something godly, something masculine and firm like David. Uncle David is going to change things for you. He's going to change things for you. He's going to give you a name. He's going to give you a name. And the name will be perhaps a name you give to your companion animal whom you are now dating. As long as we all have a name, as long as we establish a firm connection to those things, those people, those creatures who are important to us, we will have resonance and authority. We will have value in this world and in our lives. I think it's very important to realize that if you have residence and authority, you can state things that are true. Everything I've stated, because they were stated with residence and authority, they are true. Now I'm going to make sure that you have residence and authority yourselves. You're going to repeat after me. I say it, so it must be true. With good residence and authority, find your core together. I say it, so it must be true. We've learned so much. We've learned how to hail a cat, everybody. Ho. Ho! And another thing we've learned is we can be useful, we can be resident, we can be authoritative, and if we care to, we can be just a little bit of an asshole too.